Hi there, Summoners. GuardianE here with another live reaction and first impression video for Fire Emblem Heroes. Tonight we are getting the reveal of the first set of summer banners for 2023, and we got the silhouettes pulled up here, this little sneak preview of things to come that FEH provided to us, and based on the silhouettes, it's looking an awful lot like we're going to be getting a Rochelle on the right there, and a female Shez on the left. Pretty sure that's everybody's guesses, including mine, so we'll see if we're all right in just a second as we play through the trailer together, react to the revealed characters for the first time, and then of course give it another once-over to take a closer look at the art as well as the skills that are dropped in the banner. So let's get started. Alright, then got the trailer pulled up here, let's get right into it, get started and play. We'll wait for that title to leave so I can look up safely, and... Got that summer theme making a big splash. It is that time of the year. Special heroes to battle. And who is it going to be? That's definitely Shez. Okay, so one guess correct. Mercenary Shrine. Oh, she looks. That's a stylish swimsuit. I like it. So she's riding a horse, and she's gonna be a sword unit. Swift Slice. Lull Surfer Spire. I kind of thought she was going to be using like a boogie board, but I guess, yeah, that certainly went out the window. Not the case. Oh, is that Ephraim? Sunshine Valiant. It looks like him. It definitely is Ephraim. Ah, he's looking good. And that seashell axe too. So there are going to be pretty heavily cavalry-based, it looks like. Seafoam Splitter, Sunlight Bangle, Alarm Attack Defense. So does that mean we're going to get an Erica? I mean, when there's one, there's often the other. No, it is good. Okay, so, well, I mean, it would make sense to get La Rochelle as well. So Summer Princess, who is in line with what we were expecting. So she is going to be a flying cleric. You know, like, we recently got a La Rochelle. It wasn't that long ago where we got a La Rochelle, I feel. She looks kind of on the younger side. I don't know. And then, oh, hey, look at that. Heartbeats United. Wow. So it's going to be the pair of Shamir and Catherine. I mean, a very fitting pair. Certainly not one I was expecting. I definitely works. They're going to be a blue archer, partnership bow, Deadeye, Brash Assault 4. Uh-oh. All right. Let's see what they're going to do with Brash Assault. The art's beautiful. Art's beautiful for him. Duo skill. I see Gravity, and Feud. Oh, interesting. That could be a tricky little play there. Okay. And yeah, so super heavy on the cavalry. La Rochelle is the only flyer. So Summer Longing, Paralog Story, our first summer banner of the year, and got some lovely looking units all around. So male Shez looks like it's going to be the free unit based upon that little map. It does look like summer male Shez is going to be the free unit of the banner, and he is going to be a flying lancer, interestingly enough. Okay, so he is going to be a flying unit to kind of round out the different mobility types on this particular banner. So Summer Longing, starting on the 19th of June and going for, what is that, six weeks? Something like that? Which often happens so that there's overlap with the two summer banners. I think they do that pretty much every year, so this banner's going to be around for quite a long time, and we're definitely going to see the second batch of summer units while this banner is live as well, and they're going to run concurrently. La Rochelle is going to be the 4-star focus unit of the banner as the flying healer of the batch, and yeah, okay, yeah, I was not, I mean, Shez again was kind of a giveaway from the silhouette, and I think people could logically deduce that that male Shez was going to be a component to this too, but of course he is going to be the free unit. Catherine and Shamir, did not see coming, but I think it's a pretty perfect pairing. Like, I think it works really well. So, and of course, they're both beautiful. They look great. Their art looks good. We've got Ephraim making an appearance with La Rochelle. I actually forgot that we already got a Summer Erica. I don't know how I forgot that, but yeah, we already have a Summer Erica, so that's why it makes total sense that we have a Summer Ephraim, and it does make a lot of sense to have La Rochelle in there as well. So it is a nice sort of balanced banner overall, and it's nice to see La Rochelle and Ephraim join up with Innes and Tana and Erica, of course. So that's really nice too. So first up on deck is Shez, and she is going to be a sword cavalry unit, and she does have a surfboard in the back there. She's just not using it necessarily in the she's not using it as a weapon. She's got this very unique looking blade to her side that kind of looks like a coral with some flowers in it, or something somewhat resembling that. But the art for female Shez looks pretty fantastic. I really like the stylish, strappy design of the swimsuit. The colors, of course, matching the composition of her typical outfit. The black and the ochres that are there. There is this transparent little mini skirt that adds a little bit more modesty to the overall ensemble, but otherwise, again, it has this mature allure to it. You have the sunlight beaming off of her smooth skin and exposed curves. You have the vibrancy of her violet hair, as there's this sheen in the light and the shading. Nice little flowers in her hair to boot. I think she looks really, really good. So Shez is going to come equipped with Surfer's Spire. It's an 11 might sword. Enables Kanto Remainder +1, that's very good. Grants speed +5. Unit attacks twice. Okay, so that is going to have a Brave effect, even if foe initiates combat, so on both phases, deals damage equal to 20% of unit speed during combat, excluding AoE specials. So, Brave weapon on both phases actually has a speed +5, which would seem to indicate that she could be quadding. And then she's also going to be dealing fixed true damage with each of those hits too, that scales with her speed, and the weapon gives her bonus speed. There's also, of course, a Kanto component to it, which is always going to be good, and that might be sort of the cohesive theme for this banner. If they're going to be brave units, that could be the case here. Not entirely sure what's going to carry over into the other units here, but that's a very effective weapon. And we have Swift Slice for the A slot. I think this might be her designated unique A slot skill. If unit initiates combat or is within 2 space of an ally, grants +8 to all stats. During combat, if unit initiates combat against a non-dragon or non-beast infantry foe, and unit speed is greater than or equal to foe's speed +20, grants effective against all weapon types to unit during combat. Yeah, okay, alright, I remember this. Otherwise, if unit initiates combat and unit speed is greater than foe speed +5, effective against all weapon types to unit during combat. So this is her innate ability to gain effective weapon effectiveness against all weapon types, and she's going to have an easier time meeting that condition against dragon and beast infantry units. The threshold is lower. She just has to have a speed greater than her opponent's speed +5. In any other instance, her speed has to be greater than her foe's speed +20, which is still doable, especially if you kind of go in hard, even add phantom speed elements to her to make sure that she does that, because having weapon effectiveness against all types and all weapons is quite powerful, quite a powerful ability to have. Lull Speed Defense 4. So I don't think we've seen the tier 4 of the Lull skills yet. Attack speed defense, inflict speed defense -X on foe, where X equals 4, plus number of bonuses effects active on foe max 8, excludes stat bonuses. Oh. And neutralizes foes' bonuses to speed and defense from foes like Fortify Rally during combat. Okay. So it is just an improvement, and I think the lull skills in general are quite good. The number of bonuses on the enemy, I don't love that condition because you don't have a great deal of control over it. And it's not, it does exempt stat boosts and stat buffs. Now, there's so many different activated buffs in the game at this point that would it be foreseeable to get that, that -8 to speed and defense in a typical battle? Yes, of course. But I just don't like how you don't have control over it, and it's not like that additional debuff specifically works to counter the bonus effects that are on the enemy. They don't necessarily scale, I feel. I don't know. It's okay. It's alright. It's definitely worth using. It's definitely better than the Lull 3, so it's got that going for it. And then Attack Defense Menace for the C slot. Now that's a kind of a surprising pick. I would have expected them to give her a C-slot skill that debuffed the enemy's speed, or increased her own speed, just because a lot of her kit synergizes with that, and in order to ensure that Swift Slice activates, you know, all that stuff. So that's a little surprising. I mean, it's not like it's a bad choice. It's gonna make sure that she takes less damage and does more damage against the enemy, so that's certainly not a bad thing. So I gotta say, Shez's game plan feels relatively simple, but still effective nonetheless. Is that she's going to be a brave unit that will hit twice in a row, if not quad. She's going to be naturally speedy, so she's probably going to be able to quad in a lot of instances. She's going to want to get that effective damage against the enemy, and having a brave weapon that does effective damage in general, that can potentially quad, is all really strong things. Having true damage built in there too. It's all just these modifiers that amplify the amount of damage that she does per hit to ensure that she gets the kill when she does initiate on an enemy and doubles or quads like that. So she's going to have cavalry range. She is going to hit super, super hard, and then she is also going to be able to Kanto away. And that's more or less it. You know, there's not like a lot of additional utility or any other kind of unique elements to her other than the whole effective damage thing, which is great. I'm not trying to downplay that, but it's an archetype that we've seen before, I guess, in terms of what she aims to do on the battlefield. And next up, we've got Ephraim as a cavalry axe unit. I think his art looks fantastic. He's got that chiseled bod, really sleek muscle line, the six-pack showing, he's built well, he's got the charming face, the steely gaze, the strong jawline, the feathered hair that's just kind of wispy in the wind. He's wielding that really unique-looking axe. It's like a giant piece of a conch shell or something looking. It almost looks like with clownfish in part of like the coral that's attached to it too. Really interesting. Overall, just like vivid colors. You have the vibrant red that's in the flowers around his neck. If I'm remembering right, that might actually match Erica's in her art. I can't remember though 100% if that is or isn't the case. But otherwise, just the colors really pop, I think, overall. Giving him the cloth or the ribbons that are hanging off of, looks like it's hanging off of the axe, and just kind of twirling behind him. And then, of course, you have sort of the towel and the sash with the flower, and just the tights at the bottom, too. All really comes together really well. Definitely, I think Ephraim fans should be rejoicing with this art. So Ephraim's got Sea Foam Splitter. 16 might, has a killer slaying effect. At start of turn, if number of allies adjacent to unit is less than or equal to 2, grants unit can move 1 extra space to unit. That turn only does not stack. Okay. At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, inflicts attack defense -6 on foe, grants special cooldown charge +1 to unit per attack. Only highest value applied, and reduces damage from foes' first attack by 40% during combat. So it certainly seems like Ephraim is sort of built for cav lines. He has that extra movement space that's a really easy condition to meet. He just needs allies adjacent to him to be 2 or fewer. And that's really easy, especially in a cav line formation, right? That is the cav line formation. Otherwise, the rest of his weapon is good. It's all solid, powerful things. Nothing like terribly unique that kind of sets him apart that much, I feel. Damage reduction is always nice. Killer slaying effect, always nice. The debuff is nice. And then the extra special charge, all really solid things. Bonfire for the special, attack defense clash 4 for the A slot, Sunlight Bangle for the B slot. So this is where it might all change. If number of allies adjacent to unit is less than or equal to 1, inflicts attack defense -X on foe during combat, where X is 4 plus number of spaces from start position to end position of whoever initiated combat, max 8. I see. Unit attacks twice, okay? And when unit deals damage to foe during combat, restores 7 HP to unit, triggers even if 0 damage is dealt, but also if unit initiates combat, foe can counterattack before unit's first attack. I see. Okay, so this is where they slapped on all the ridiculousness. So the condition being number of adjacent allies being 1 or fewer. Him being a cavalry unit does mean that, typically speaking, he's going to overextend. He's going to have an extended movement range. He's going to kind of cut through the enemy lines, you know, all that stuff. And so it's pretty conceivable that in a lot of instances he's going to be able to, you know, meet that condition pretty easily. Now, the fact that he has this extended movement range obviously synergizes with the debuff component to the Sunlight Bangle, which means that he's going to reach that max 8 probably pretty easily. And then they just kind of like slap in the Brave effect into Sunlight Bangle. So they just kind of slap in the fact that, oh yeah, by the way, he's also going to attack twice in a row. So he does have a Brave effect. It's just not built into his weapon. It's built into his Sunlight Bangle. And he's going to get healing as well every time he attacks. And he's going to, interestingly enough, he's going to reverse, or he's going to manipulate the attacking order, similar to how Brave Ike does. So when he attacks into the enemy, it's actually going to force the enemy to counterattack first. And so he's going to enjoy the 40% damage reduction from the opponent's first hit during combat that's afforded by Seafoam Splitter in the process. So I'm guessing Ephraim is going to be super, super tanky from a defense perspective. We can actually take a look because they do have some gameplay, so we can actually see what the stat line is. But he's probably going to have stacked defense and then 40% damage reduction for the first hit. So he's, you know, I guess he's probably going to get dinged. And then even if he takes a little bit of damage, when it's going to help charge his bonfire so that he does actually proc his bonfire when he attacks. And the bonfire is going to scale off of his defense, and he's also going to heal throughout the process too. So that's the combination. That's the rub of the kind of the kit as a whole. We should take a look at the C slot. So alarmed attack defense at start of turn. If number of allies adjacent to unit is less than or equal to 2, grants attack defense +6 and Kanto 1 to unit for 1 turn. If number of allies adjacent to unit is less than 1, grants attack defense +3 to unit during combat. So his kit overall is like perfectly situated to work with alarm attack defense. Seafoam Splitter's condition works perfectly with the first part of alarm attack defense. Sunlight Bangle works perfectly with the second condition of alarm attack defense. So it's basically like a custom, it's inheritable, but it's like the perfect C-slot skill for him in a lot of ways, just because he can take advantage of both elements very, very easily. So let's take a look here actually at his stat line. So he's rocking 50 defense. So yeah, I mean, that's a very sizable defense, not including the in-combat boosts that he has, just the activated boost. He's also going to get a +13 in-combat buffs to both attack and defense. So yeah, I mean, overall, that's pretty darn tanky. And then the 40% damage reduction too is going to help in a big way. Charge the bonfire. All that's going to scale with the bonfire damage that he does. So yeah, he's going to hit pretty hard when that procs. And next up we have La Rochelle, who is the 4-star focus unit of the banner, easily discernible from the silhouette from her hairstyle, very distinct. And she is going to be a flying cleric. Now, it hasn't been that long since we've gotten another La Rochelle, and so that's a little surprising to me that we're getting another La Rochelle so soon. But I like La Rochelle, and I think she looks good here. I will say it's a little bit of a cutesier art style than we've seen for her in the past. Beautiful use of colors. Love the green that matches with her hair, that are component pieces of the swimsuit. The skirt portion that's transparent as well. The frills on the arms and the underside of the swimsuit top. And it has these embellishments and panache to it that gives it this sort of royal princessy flair. She has a parasol to her side too, giving her some added fanciness. Flowers in her hair. The straps are very fetching. She's enjoying a cocktail there. So yeah, I think it has that summer vibrance that you're really looking for. So La Rochelle has Seaside Parasol Plus. It's 12 might, inheritable. At start of turn, Grant inflicts guard on nearest foes within 5 spaces of unit and foes within 2 spaces of those foes, equipped with a skill that can trigger the Savior effect. Oh, interesting. At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, grants attack speed +5 to unit and inflicts res -X on foe during combat, where X equals the number of bonus and penalty effects active on foe times 4. Max 16, excludes stat bonuses and stat penalties. So they're really going in hard on this whole number of bonuses on the enemy, not including stat boosts. And then you have the res debuff component to the weapon that scales with the bonuses and penalty effects on the enemy. Now I like La Rochelle's version because it's not just bonuses, it's penalties too, and you have a lot more control over the penalties, right? You can inflict penalties on the enemy, you can set yourself up to make sure that you're enabling penalties on the enemy. And of course, it ignores stat debuffs. But again, you can work around that. Guard, for example, is one such penalty. So in the instance where she's going to be attacking into somebody within her range and they have Guard on them, they're going to have at least one penalty. So that's the nice thing, you know. So one penalty means one penalty times 4. So at least she's going to get a res minus 4 in the majority of cases, if not much, much more than that. And max 16 is huge. So if you set yourself up and your characters and your teams up to inflict more of these debuffs on the enemy, you can pretty easily get to 16. And that's a very significant debuff. Earthwind Balm Plus, when healing an ally with a staff, grants speed defense plus 6 to all allies for 1 turn. It's saying it's new. I mean, I guess we didn't have this before, but it's not going to make any impact now. I mean, it's really not. This must be one of the balms that was missing or something. I'm not entirely sure, but it's not going to be that remarkable. It's nice to have it on a 4-star focus unit on the banner, which means it's going to be pretty accessible, but it's not terribly remarkable or groundbreaking or anything. Blade Session 3 for the A slots. Clerics in general have limited choices for the A slot skill. Blade Session is definitely a solid one. It just means that you have to kind of rely more on or pay more attention to the order that you play your units, but it's a solid choice. So La Rochelle is interesting. I think there's a lot of built-in utility into her weapon that's pretty fun to play around. I think the guard effect is really nice. The stat boosts and the debuff on the enemy can be extravagant. I mean, that minus 16 to res, you can really make that happen. Earthwind Balm Plus, having that on a 4-star unit is good. Blade Session 3 as well, that's fine. That's okay. And then Wrathful Staff is, I guess, nice to have too, available there. Yeah, I mean, again, doesn't blow me away, but her weapon, I think her weapon has some unique utility that could be fun to play around with. And here, of course, we have the duo unit of the banner, Shamir and Catherine, as a Cavalry Blue Archer. Again, the pairing makes perfect sense. I think it works really well. They both look gorgeous in their swimsuits and their respective outfits. I always like to see the dichotomy between the different characters whenever they bring two of them together for a duo. But yeah, I think Shamir and Catherine work really well together from a flavor perspective, and then they also have this interesting aesthetic dynamic and contrast between the two as well. Like I said, they both look gorgeous. We've got Shamir rocking the darker tones, one piece, it's strappy, it has belts hanging off, very kind of similar to a Ranger aesthetic, right? It has kind of those tones built into it. You've got Catherine with the gold accents, the white swimsuit, the sheer skirt contrasts really, really well with her bronze skin. And I really appreciate the collared shirt that's tied at the midriff. That look is really appealing. And what a midriff, by the way. That toned belly, that athletic build is really attractive. Definitely a beach body. And we have Shamir holding the bow in the back. It's this really beautiful, I guess, a seashell design with spikes on the ridge. Has almost this pearlescent look to parts of it, too, that shine and shimmer in the sun. They both got cocktails. Catherine is wielding a flag. It looks like she just has propped on her shoulder too. They're both curvaceous, lovely, have this mature allure to them. And again, the dichotomy between them with Shamir's, I think, fairer complexion and Catherine's darker, more caramel tones really works well in tandem with each other. So Shamir and Catherine have something called Partnership Bow. It's 14 might. Has a killer slaying effect, effective against flying foes. At start of turn, inflicts discord and panic on nearest foes within 5 spaces of unit and foes within 2 spaces of those foes. At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, grants +5 to all stats unit and inflicts speed defense minus X on foe during combat, where X equals the number of bonuses and penalty effects active on foe times 4. Max 16 excludes stat bonuses and stat penalties, and also, if any bonus or penalty is active on foe, neutralizes special cooldown charge minus X effects on unit, and effects that prevent units' follow-up attacks during combat. Okay, so Discord. Discord is inflicts minus X to all stats on unit during combat. X equals 2 plus number of allies within 2 spaces of unit, max 5 through its next action. So that's not bad. So the actual value of Discord is that it stacks with other stat penalties. So other stat penalties that might be on the enemy's stat line, this is this is on top of those stat debuffs. So that's one thing. The other thing is that it acts as a penalty on the enemy that's not a stat debuff, so it meets one of the conditions for some of the effects of Partnership Bow. So yeah, the fact that it is just, again, the beauty or the value of the Discord is not in the numbers necessarily, it's in the additional effects that it stacks onto, as well as the meeting the condition of the bonuses and penalties. That's interesting. So inflicting both Discord and Panic on nearest foes, and by the way, within 5 spaces of the unit, and then within 2 spaces, and not having the save condition, that's a huge AoE. So within 5 spaces of the unit is already big, and then within 2 spaces of that is a giant cloud around that unit that inflicts the Discord and the Panic debuff. So you're right out of the gate, you're inflicting 2 penalties on the enemy that's going to help with the speed, defense, minus X on foe during combat. And so that alone is going to be minus 8 to speed and defense. That's significant. And with the weapon giving the penalty on the enemy, that does meet the condition for neutralizing any guard effects on Shamir and Catherine, as well as allowing her to double unhindered. So they're not gonna, they can't prevent a follow-up attack, can't prevent her from doubling as well. Deadeye for the special, the best archer special in the game. It's definitely gonna see use here. Remote Sparrow for the A slot, definitely gonna increase those offensive stats, as well as enjoy a little bit of damage reduction on the foe's first attack. Alright, so Brash Assault 4, I'm curious about this one. So, at start of combat, if unit's HP is less than or equal to 99%, and unit initiates combat, or if foe's HP equals 100%, and unit initiates combat, inflicts defense res -4 on foe. Okay. Reduces damage from foe's first attack by 30%. Unit makes a guaranteed follow-up attack. And unit's next attack deals damage equal to total damage reduced. Resets at end of combat. Only highest value applied. Does not stack. That's such an interesting departure to Brash Assault. So it inflicts the in-combat defense res -4. I mean, that's just solid. It just means that she's going to do more damage. Any type of unit that inherits this is going to do more damage. Always a good thing. Reduces damage from foe's first attack by 30%, guaranteed follow-up attack, and then the Abide effect, where whatever damage was reduced by the 30%, it actually gets added onto the damage that Shamir does with the follow-up attack. Yeah, that's really, really interesting. It's such a departure from what Brash Assault did. It has so much more built into it, and a lot of, like, really good stuff, too. I feel like a lot of different units and archetypes could make use of something like this, so very interesting. Fatal Smoke 3 for the C slot. Foe cannot recover HP during after combat, and after combat inflicts deep wounds on target and foes within 2 spaces. So that is yet again another penalty that can be activated on the enemy that is not a stat debuff. So overall, first impressions with Shamir and Catherine, just on the kit right now, because we have to look at the duo skill, but I mean, it does look like they just have debuffs in spades, like stat debuff after stat debuff. Even if you inflict these other effects, it's really like just piling on and stacking and overstacking the stat debuffs on the enemy, so you have a huge stat differential. I mean, that's really kind of what it boils down to. You have all of these different effects that she's got going for her, but the reality is it's just trying to make the separation so that she does more damage to the enemy. And then with Brash Assault 4, that's like a really interesting component to it too, because it does have a damage reduction element to it. So that, because she doesn't have Desperation anywhere, she's not attacking twice in a row, so having damage reduction built in from the first hit is solid, and then she's also going to be able to use that to enhance her damage capability too. So let's keep on moving along here, and then we have the attacking art. Really beautiful. I love the pose, the dynamic momentum of both of them together, and I like that Catherine is actually sort of wielding the flag or the spear or whatever, you know, whatever you might want to call it, over her head. She's got this overhead swing that she's got going on, launching forward, and they both look fantastic. They really do. And you get a better view of the actual sleek nature of the bow. It's almost otherworldly, almost, I guess, like it has a deep sea element to it. It's really cool. So the duo skill inflicts gravity on foes in cardinal directions of unit, and feud on foes within 5 rows and 5 columns centered on unit. So feud is relatively rare. It's a rare debuff to impart. So that has a lot of value. Gravity is more common, but so valuable to have too. And both of these are penalties that are not stat debuffs. So both of these act to activate certain or enhance certain conditions meet certain conditions of Shamir and Catherine's weapon. So, really good. I mean, that's really great utility, and will enable her to do just that much more damage as well. And we can see her stat line too, once it kind of like fades a little bit. But yeah, I have 57 attack, 46 speed, great offensive stat line, and then defense-wise, relatively even keel, more on the defense side, and a little bit on the lower side in general, but also not insignificant. I mean, she can definitely tank something, especially with that damage reduction built into the Brash Assault 4. So no slouch in that arena as well. So evaluating the banner as a whole, if you love cavalry, this is definitely a good banner for you. Cavalry is definitely representing here. I honestly think that La Rochelle notwithstanding, because La Rochelle is the 4-star focus unit, she doesn't really have... She has okay stuff, but it's not really anything that's mind-bending. Her weapon is, I think, is fun to work around with, too. So Shez is Shez. I think the advantages that Shez has is what Shez is known for. It's having that extra effectiveness, the weapon effectiveness, having the brave effect built in, like all that stuff that's not really unique when you consider that she's a Shez, but unique overall, like from the rest of the cast, right? Ephraim, super tanky, powerful, going to be able to proc that bonfire and do a ton of damage, and having that additional movement space. Pretty sweet, short, and to the point. That being said, most Cav lines have the capability of extending that additional movement tile to allies. So it definitely doesn't hurt. It's definitely a great ability to have, and really easy to meet, and he's going to hit super hard, and that bonfire is going to do a ton of damage too. And the Shamir and Catherine, I think the unique element to them is how many debuffs they actually bestow on the enemy. Again, at the end of the day, I think it just leads to a bigger stat differential, which just means more damage. But the fact that they have the duo skill with all that built-in utility of different debuffs, you have the stacking debuffs like the Discord and everything else, all that together, and then it's further amplifying the res, or the not the res, the stat debuff on the enemy is considerable, and so that is really potent. So for me personally, I would certainly appreciate getting Shez, and I would certainly appreciate getting the duo. I'm not like bouncing off the walls here or anything. Like, I mean, you know, if a summer banner really hits, then I go nuts. I mean, I'm super excited, and it doesn't even matter what their skills are. It doesn't even matter anything. I'll just go in and go in as far as I need to in order to get the units. Here, I think I'm like willing to wait, actually. Like, I do like Shamir, I like Catherine, I do like Shez, but I don't know. I feel like I could wait beyond day one. Do I really need to? I mean, again, I'm probably going to go in on the banner eventually anyway, so I don't know. I guess I'm trying to wrestle with my thoughts here. So in all likelihood, I'm going to be going in on this and at least going for those two targets. We'll see. We'll see when Monday rolls around, whatever it is. But let me know. Let me know in the comments below if you're excited for summer longing these units. If you guessed the Shamir and Catherine duo. Hopefully you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to leave us a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more Fire Emblem Heroes content. We thank you all so much for watching, for taking time out of your day to spend with us. We really do appreciate it. And until next time, let's protect those skies.